Okay, before this video begins, I just wanted to quickly mention, even though this is a Railroads Online story, I'm going to be retelling it in Trainz, because I haven't gotten to the point in A of my save files in which I got the Uintah 2662 Malay, and even then none of them are the Mesa Plains route. I haven't even started playing on that route yet, so we're just going to have to deal with Trainz footage. I'm also aware, of course, that there are mods out there that immediately level you up and give you infinite money. I have no idea where to find these mods or even how to download them and install them properly, so just deal with this Trainz footage and everything will be alright, okay? Good. On to the video. Our story takes place sometime after the full release update of Railroads Online. I had been server hopping that day and found myself upon a server that took place on the Mesa Plains map. The host, who had these mods, was kind enough to purchase me the Uintah 2662 Malay locomotive. In exchange, I would help them out in a lumber and beams run to the iron ore mine courtesy of the sawmill. As they were preparing the train and my engine took on water, I was given a rundown on how this was going to play out. The host and his friend would be operating the two Mastodon locomotives that they had of the train, taking the lumber and beams up to the iron ore mine. However, it wouldn't be such an easy ride, for you see, there are some steep grades leading up to the iron ore mine. That's where I come in. I'll be closely following the train from behind and push the train up any hills should they get stuck. With all this information in mind, I climbed into the locomotive and was ready to go. Or at least I would be if the locomotive wasn't busy guzzling down all the water, because for some reason the 2662 loves drinking water out of the water tower. It took a long time for that thing to get finished, but eventually it was, and we were ready to go. It was a long journey just to get to the slopes that led up to the iron ore mine. Well, long journey in terms of Railroads Online, but nevertheless, it provided a good opportunity to take in the scenic view of this long train puffing through the mesas, or desert in the case of the visuals. point, the convoy had to stop because the rear engine needed to take on water. This water stop went without incident, and thankfully didn't take as long as a certain 2662 I was driving that day. And eventually, when the water was full, the convoy headed back out onto the main. Then comes the main incident. We were passing by a small siding in which a Uintah 062 was being stored on. The main wood train passed by without incident, but when I was passing by, with my camera facing the 062, I jokingly typed in the chat, "Would anyone mind if I were to kidnap this 062 and bring it along our journey?" But when I looked back ahead of me, I saw to my horror that the train had stopped, and I only had a short time to react. However, because of how the controls in the external camera was set up, instead of going for the brake, I ended up going for the reverser and sending it to full forward. And, well, I think you can guess what happened next. The rear of that train was a mess. Cars were derailed everywhere on the side of the tracks. Miraculously, the engine had managed to stay on the tracks throughout the entire derailment, which just goes to show the true might of this thing. At first, I was worried. What would the host say? Was I about to get banned for this? But after an apology to the chat, I was told everything was alright and that he was laughing about the entire incident. Then I asked the obvious question. Why did the train stop? What had happened was that the two engines on the head of the train had derailed because they ended up hitting, of all things, a cactus. You cannot make this stuff up. And then I came along and, to quote the host, gave the conductor a nice surprise. After a good laugh, we set to work re-railing the train, which didn't really take that long. Soon, we were on our way again. The only other notable thing that happened on the way to the iron ore mine was that the train did eventually stall on some of the gradients, and I had to come in and help push the train up the hill. But at long last, we finally made it to the iron ore mine. By this point, the host was ready to call it quits for today, but before he left, I suggested that he quickly save the game so we could uncouple the freight cars and send them rolling right back down the hill. He thought it was a fun idea, and so one game save later, we all watched as we sent those freight cars rolling right back down the hill. Didn't last long, and eventually went hurtling off